we have regular city streets behind it. So it's got a 60-foot right-of-way instead of 50, and it is built 36 feet back to curb to accommodate one lane each way plus a turning lane. At the time that we proposed the donation of the land, our proposal was that we would donate the land that, and I'm going to say some values here. At the time, it was estimated that that piece of property would be worth between $1.2 and $1.8 million. Once road access was given to the area by extending the road, and we proposed that in exchange for the donation of that land, that we would also donate additional acreage for the roadway to be extended, and that if the city would apply for grants to match the linear footage of road that we have built and paid for ourselves, that any distance after that, which would roughly be another 200 or 300 feet, that any portion of that the grant funds wouldn't cover, we would split the cost with the city on. The whole thought behind this is that, you know, we have lived in this town a long time. We are not born and raised in New Albany, but I moved here when I was 6. My father was through here in the 70s. We came back in the 90s. And this town has been really good to us, and we feel like that this is a way that we could give back. We do feel that the Light, Gas, and Water Department is in need of a new facility, as well as the police department. And this is a way to centrally locate something like those facilities into an area that is very high traffic area already. And along with it being a high traffic area, it would be more centrally located to a larger population or percentage of the population of New Albany, and to the other people in the county that have light, gas, and water services. The $1.2 to $2.5 to $1.8 million valuation is based off of actual appraisals that we have for land in the surrounding areas. It is discounted greatly from the surrounding areas. We wanted to be very conservative in the value of this piece of property because our thoughts are that in gifting this to the city would be able to use this as an in-kind money type transaction to apply for a grant, not only for the construction of the road, but also for the construction of a new facility in regard to the buildings, the light, gas, and water, and the police department. The typical grant that cities will apply for, it requires a 20% match. So if you were to take the low end of the 1.25 billion valuation, that would give you in-kind money to secure $6.25 million in grant money. If it came in at the $1.8 million, it would give you in-kind that would secure $9 million worth of grant money. We do realize that that is, a process that would have to be gone through. But at this time, since the 18 months ago that we proposed this, there are several things that we've been working on in master planning the remaining property we have there. And we just felt at this time that it was the appropriate time, now that Alderwoman Livingston and Mr. Conley have gotten acclimated to being aldermen, to bring it back up. We have in our plans going forward to develop all of the remaining 270 acres we have. In that area, there would be a 160 lot residential subdivision, as well as a condominium development that would be in the 80 to 90 unit range, along with additional professional business or light commercial type businesses, along with some heavier commercial towards Park Plaza. There is currently a tunnel car wash that is in the works that is very close to being able to come before the plans on board for approval. It is an environmentally or eco-friendly type tunnel car wash that recycles water and It's similar to the Car Wash USA that you see in Oxford and Jackson Avenue, but the equipment's a little different, it's a little more eco-friendly, and it's a different national brand. That particular company, as well as a hotel, are currently working on trying to pinpoint a site in that general area to locate. The hotel is in the Wyndham family, and they're looking in the 80 to 90 room range, which would be 35 to 42,000 square feet, 3-story type concept. They've got a couple of sites picked out, but at this time, while trying to allow them to pick out their sites, we are in conjunction attempting to design the rest of our property in the egress and ingress to that property. And we just felt at this time that it was appropriate to propose again to the city this potential land donation to see if it was something that y'all were possibly interested in. Not wanting to put pressure on you or anything like that, but with these businesses looking, and with others that are kind of in the pipeline, 1 out of every 10 deals come to fruition in our business, and we have a table of deals that we're actively working on. We won't close all of them for sure, but there's enough on the table that we feel like for sure the car wash and the hotel will happen, and then possibly some others. And it's just at a point where we need to be able to continue on with some sort of master plan and pull the trigger on engineering and designing of the overall property. And if the city of New Albany was interested in that particular piece of property, we would love to be able to incorporate the piece that we would donate to the city into those plans. If not, we understand, but we are at a point where, the next 6 months or so, we need to kind of know what we're going to do and press forward with it. In our business, most of the deals we do take 2 to 3 years to complete, and so we're constantly looking ahead and planning ahead on what we're going to do infrastructure-wise, along with everything else. So this is just something that has some within a year impacts in the short term, and definitely has a lot of impacts in the next 5 years on our side from a planning standpoint. And we just again felt like this was the appropriate time to offer it again for y'all's consideration. And my dad, he sees the positive effects that came from the donation for building Park Plaza, and feels like this could be another thing that the city could participate in that would demonstrate forward thinking and look into the future. If you take a look at the tax revenues from Walmart, the surrounding shopping centers, and other businesses in that area, they're very tremendous and beneficial to the city. And we feel like city participation in this would keep that ball rolling and continue to bring good commercial businesses in town that will get people off the highway, get them in our stores. Once they're in our stores, maybe they'll stay in our hotels, and if they'll stay in our hotels, maybe they'll find out about the great downtown that we have and come visit our restaurants here and shop in our shops down here. So that's kind of the driving force behind it. The other thing that we wanted to mention was that this could potentially be something that could be coupled with some other improvements that have been needed in the area for a long time. Park Plaza Drive is not in the greatest shape in regard to road surface, and it also is, in my opinion, in need of widening to incorporate a turn lane and entry lane. If you've ever gotten lunch at Zaxby's and tried to leave, you'll realize that the amount of traffic on that road is a lot more than what people realize, and it's only going to get worse. Part of something that y'all have approved that is in our two-year plan is at the beginning of a shopping center across from Lowe's. The city's approved 76,000 feet of commercial space there. We have been working with multiple people to try and get an anchor tenant on that. We've come close twice, but in the next 2 years, we've made the decision that if we don't get that anchor tenant, we will do a spec building and just go ahead and build something out ourselves. So the traffic is only going to get worse, and so 3-laning Park Plaza is something that could very well make sense to lump into a grant application to not only do that and extend Virginia Way in order to be able to locate other facilities there. Make it a package deal, use the money. We would want to see it applied to the road extension first, but any in-kind money that could apply to the other portions once the road extension was taken care of, we would wholeheartedly want the city to take that money and use it to any advantage they could. And the only other improvement in the area that's been needed for, I know, 24 years is the culvert that is under Bratton Road. Currently, Bratton Road is going to be covered in water at least twice a year. I'm 32 years old, and we moved to New Albany when I was 6. And when I was 8 years old, one memory I have from childhood is one of my babysitters decided that she was going to drive through floodwaters on Bratton Road in that particular area, and her car stalled out with us in it. So that's been a problem for at least 24 years, if not longer. And I currently, we've developed Park Place Apartments and Parkview subdivision, and the density on that side of the ditch is getting greater year in and year out, and it's definitely something that needs to be addressed and could be something that can be thrown in with a grant application to apply in Park Plaza and extend another road, and just overall spending some money in an area that historically since 1991 has been a tremendous tax revenue driver for the city. And I just feel that it's an area that the city could earn a large return on investment by investing in the long-term planning for the area, and that's why we feel that proposing this donation is not only something that we would just like to do, but it would give the city a tool to be able to make some of those things happen without having to raise taxes any more than what was necessary at all, as well as being able to give an opportunity to update the light, gas, and water and police department that we feel is needed and would be a good thing for the community.
How many acres was it?
The actual roadway acreage is going to be 3 to 4 acres. The additional acreage would be 20 to 22 acres. I've given y'all some preliminary drawings that y'all have seen before that reflected a portion of that, and we're kind of open as to the layout on it. That's another reason we haven't gone forward with all the engineering and laying out, is because we are wanting to try and give the city an opportunity to, see what needs you would need as far as shape and size of a piece of property. We don't want to just give you something that's not deep enough or wide enough to do something with. So we're open as to the shape of it. We have a general area that we would like to incorporate in that, but it could change by a few acres, plus or minus, depending on the final shape that we arrived at. But like I said, in the existing area, and New Albany is a lot less valued than other areas in bigger towns, but there are land sales as high as in the town citywide. There are land sales as high as $18 per square foot. In that area, there are land sales as high as $8 per square foot. Those values that I've given are based off of $1.25 to $2 per square foot, which we feel like would be extremely easy to get an appraisal for those amounts based off of surrounding sales, not only that property but other property around town. So we're trying to be conservative and give evaluation so that y'all can see how good of a tool it would be. But at the same time, while we're being conservative with road access, with the area that it's in, could it possibly come in at a higher number than that 1.25 to 1.8 range? Yes, it could, but we don't want to bank on that, so we're being super conservative. We debated throwing around numbers at all, because it's kind of something that we like to keep private, but at the end of the day, when you're talking about acreage, people don't always compute value of high value property per acre into a number that they could really grab onto. A commercial property like that is sold per square foot, and in the area that it is, with the improved traffic flow that it has compared to other areas in older parts of town, it is definitely valuable property, and it's something that we felt like we needed to give some sort of conservative number forward for y'all to be able to consider.
How soon did y'all need to know something from us?
We're kind of looking in the next 6 months to really have a direction as to what which direction we're gonna go on the planning side. Engineering and land use planning is something that is a professional service that is not very easily affordable. I expect us to spend somewhere between the $75,000 and $100,000 amount to pay for those professional services to design that overall master plan. Jeff Williams Engineering is our civil engineer. He works with a firm, Dowhoff and Thomas. They do a ton of work for the city of South Haven and Oxford. And they are a very, very good land use planner that incorporates not only eco-friendly things such as green spaces and parks, but they also make sure to incorporate quality of life things such as sidewalks, walking trails, and all those different things at the same time. Designing for the businesses to be located there and be aesthetically pleasing and easily accessed. So we just feel like at this point in time, my dad's about to turn 79, and it's my uncle passed away about a month ago, and it's just kind of spurred on the we need to decide what direction we're going and go ahead and get it on paper and the plan in place so that we can start implementing it, so that we aren't surprised or behind the eight ball if something did happen. So we kind of have a 6-month window that we would like to kind of know the direction we're going, and after that we would employ Jeff Williams and Dowhoff to start the work on that. But again, we wanted to give you all the opportunity. The existing aldermen knew about it. I know Amy and Keith did not, and we didn't want to. We started to propose it earlier, but we felt like getting everybody acclimated and up to speed, and because of it being the first year in a new term, we thought we'd give it some time. At this point, we feel like that it's been enough time, and we felt it was the appropriate time to propose.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, next we got Lance Evans, Superintendent of New Albany School. Got a big shot with us tonight.
Oh, there went the phone. Sorry about that. All right, thank you very, very much. I want to pass out something. This is preliminary. I'm not going to read through this. I'm just going to talk through it, if that's okay. We currently have a bond in our school district that's rolling on. That bond was, the original bond was a 20-year bond that we're in year 17, I believe of. We're very close to paying this off due to the fact that we refinanced and we're able to get a better finance rate, which obviously able to shorten the term of the bond as far as paying it back. It's very important to our school system that we have the opportunity to continue to upgrade our facilities, that we have the opportunity to make sure that we can offer adequate resources for our students to learn in, and for our teachers to teach in, and for our community to be proud of us, and athletic facilities for our students and teachers to be very proud of, just like people that come visit our city. Just like Mr. Young was speaking about earlier, one of the biggest components to a great city is a great school district, because that recruits. People aren't going to locate their businesses here if you do not have a great school district. They're not going to move it, they're not going to move people here, because it won't work. But coming back to the paper you have in front of you, we started about 8 months ago working interviewing architects. We ended up with A2H, as our architectural firm. They then conducted an assessment of all of the buildings and all the facilities we have in our school district, and they rated them fair, critical, fair, poor, critical. What we're trying to address is our poor and critical areas. If you'll flip through, you'll see each, and I want you to understand the cost of these is based on working with architects and their anticipated costs. So that's not necessarily where it will end up. This is the beginnings of a presentation that after speaking with each of you, we will complete and then put in to play as far as an education campaign for the public, for our public, so that they understand exactly what's happening and they have a very good idea of how the funds would be used. So if you'll allow me, I will let me break down the difference in bond funds versus general operation funds. Just like I believe you have on your agenda to approve our budget, that's a general operation fund. That's day-to-day operational funds of the school district. Keeps the lights on. You do maintenance good, routine maintenance. Pays the water, light, and gas. Ms. Coffey, she's here as well. She's our business manager. So any questions we have in the end, I'll make sure we'll refer some of those to her. So now think of bond money. Bond money, the state allocates the amount of meals that you can bond for. In our city, we're able to bond for 11 meals. Without getting too technical, that 11 meals can be divided up, it's 11 meals per year up to 20 years. So we're not asking for a 20-year bond. What we're looking at is we're asking to conduct a short-term bond that allows facility upgrades, some renovation on the inside and outside of schools. You'll see some facade upgrades that will happen. A lot of roof issues, a lot of HVAC issues will be corrected. For example, the windows in our high school and our career technical center, those of you that graduated from New Albany High School, it's the same plexiglass windows that have been in there since before you were there, I'm sure. The energy efficiency of those windows and the comfort level of the teachers and the students that are there. We have a great school. Our schools are very clean. Our schools are very user-friendly. People come in our schools and they are amazed at what our grounds look like. They're amazed at what the insides of our schools look like. They're amazed at the technology that we offer our students. They're amazed at the academic performance, the athletic facilities. We want to continue. We want to make sure that those people that visit our school district continue to have those same impressions. So this short-term bond, like I said earlier, will allow, think of it as capital campaign type things that you cannot take care of out of a general operational budget. Because when you talk about putting a roof on an elementary school, the size of our elementary school, and you talk about swapping out HVAC systems, the majority of them are 17 years old, other than the ones that may have, we'll say, passed on and had to be replaced. It's an astronomical amount of money. You're talking about $1.5 million to have that done. And it's very important to us that we do that in a way to where we don't want to have to worry about that roof for 20 plus years. When we swap out roofs and it's in selected areas in other parts of our school district. So when you look at, let me give you from an athletic standpoint, we're not trying to build new football stadiums. We're not trying to build new basketball arenas. Memorial Gym, let me speak to that just for a moment. You're talking about restroom renovations, you're talking about plumbing and electrical renovations and upgrades. You're talking about there does need to be some renovations to the playing surface there. That floor has gotten to the point where, with the sanded and refinish, the sanded and refinish, it's getting to that point to where after so many years, you actually have to replace that floor. It's getting close to that point. We have the same company do that every year, and they tell us it's really getting to the point where we potentially do that. We would never want to change the appearance of Memorial Gym, but we need some upgrades to the outside of Memorial Gym. You can see we're kind of used to it because we go and come from there all the time, but there are some things that aesthetically needs to look a little better, I guess would be the best way to put it. So we have some HVAC issues there. We have some, there's lots of little things.
You have ADA issues.
Yeah, ADA issues in all of our, thank you for bringing that up. I apologize. I was reading through the presentation a little more. But we have ADA issues in all of our buildings. When you have buildings that are as old as ours, you're going to have some ADA issues. When you have, for example, our Career and Technical Center, it's an old. So there's a really large wheelchair accessible ramp that we built there. Memorial Gym, there's ADA issues there. Our elementary school has less than any other, but in the last 17 years, those ADA requirements have changed. So we want to make sure that everyone is welcome in our school and everyone has access to our school. It's very, very important that we do that. Something another thing that's very critical is in this bond, there will be absolutely, unequivocally, without a doubt, no increase in taxes, period. So, so think of it this way. Think of it, and this is not, I'm speaking very generally now, but think of it as a continuation to the current bond, because there is no tax increase in this bond. Now, can you ask for a tax increase in the bond? Absolutely. But we're not going to do that. That's not going to happen. That bond will run at those already so we're going to run at 11 mils. We're going to run at those state approved 11 mils is where I'm trying to go with that, so I apologize. But it's, like I said, it's repairs, it's upgrades, it is comfort things, quality of life issues, ADA issues, HVA, I'm kind of recapping here, roof issues. Let me give you another example. So I don't know if you've seen, I know you've seen this, the area in between where our football stadium is, where our field house is, and our book. That's fine. It's really bad and in need of a real organized, laid out parking area to improve traffic and make sure that the parking is adequate. That's another example of an outside piece on our football stadium. You're talking about restroom renovations. You're talking about very minor renovations to field houses, HVAC stuff, roof stuff, insulation things, restroom renovations. You're talking about generally the same type of things in all of our buildings. So people they'll ask the question, they'll say, so why aren't you building a school? Well, the reason we don't build a school currently is because if I were to, as a superintendent, if I were to say, we need to do a 20-year bond right now to build a school, that would be very irresponsible. The reason why it would be irresponsible of me is we would build a school, but we would have all these other issues that we would have in our schools that would need to be upgraded. And we wouldn't have the ability to do that because we would have that full amount of bonding capacity already obligated to that 20 years. Now, will there come a point in time when we potentially will need to build another facility? Absolutely. Will it come at the end of a 5 to 7 year bond, which is what I'm speaking about. This bond, we're anticipating anywhere from 5 to 7 years. Potentially it could, because there'll be, people ask those questions. It's something that, think of it this way, over the years, it was in the 80s when school bonds really originated, late 70s, early 80s. When this happened, the first one really to speak of was in Hattiesburg. When that was done, that allowed, the state allowed schools the capacity to pass bonds in order to do these capital improvements that they need to do. So, let's say 17 years ago, 16, 17 years ago, when the city of New Albany and the residents of New Albany School District made a decision to pass that bond, which they passed with overwhelming acceptance. And we would anticipate the same thing happening here because of how supportive our city is, how supportive our aldermen there are. I want to thank Mayor Kent. Over the last 5 months, we've worked together a lot in helping put this information together. I want to thank him publicly, just like I want to thank all of you. I think the success of it will be, I anticipate it being very, very high, very, very great. Just simply because we're very good stewards of the money. We're going to make sure that it's directly going back into the schools, which impacts teaching, learning, quality of life, and it ensures that we are setting up our school district for the future. And we are ensuring that we don't have issues that come up that we can't afford to correct down the road. And like I said, 16, 17 years ago, when the residents of this city and the residents of the New Albany School District chose to approve that bond, here's what they said. They said, we're going to step up and we're going to make sure that our school district is taken care of, and they were making sure that in the future that they were paying it forward, if you will. This is just another time in which that happens. Generation by generation by generation. Just like I was talking about earlier. His father come in and him come in. Just generational thing, right? Give it back. So I didn't know if anyone might have any questions. This is not the only time I will inform you. This is, with your permission, this would be the first time that I was speaking.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
We're about 17 years into the 20-year bond now, and you said another 5 to 7 years. Would that be tacked on to the 3 years remaining? So it'd be about 10-year. The bond would be.
Let me clarify that, because I didn't state that very well. It was a 20-year bond, but we will actually pay it up at the end of next year. The last payment will be at the end of next year. So you're looking at about a 17-year. I probably Ms. Coffey can speak to that better than I can. 16 to 17 years. That 20 is being paid like 16 to 17 because of the refinancing. So
You're talking about 5 on top of the 16 or 17.
well, it rolls off. So think of it as being gone.
This is a new.
Yeah, I know it, but
Yeah, if you were continuing like
counting
that,
years, you're talking
there
about
you go.
21 or 2 years.
Good point. So if you were counting it that way.
Yeah.
But in theory, in reality, it rolls off. This one rolls on. Taxpayers see absolutely no change in what they pay. So what you pay now is not going to be an increase. Just like in our budget that we asked the city to adopt, it's absolutely no tax increase there. The residents of the city of New Albany and the New Albany School District, and the reason why I say New Albany School District, we have a large annex area. It runs out Highway 30, pretty much to Dumas, and it is a large landmass, that area. Now, how densely populated, I'm not sure, but we have a lot of our students that are in that annex area. So it's...
That's another question while you're thinking.
Yes, sir.
So nothing happens until the other bond's paid off. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the way it works is the timing. And we're at the perfect place in timing, because here's how that works. We now after this meeting, we're waiting after this meeting for contact with members of our campaign committee. I'll contact them tomorrow, just kind of take you through it. We spend about 4 to 5 weeks educating the citizens of New Albany and the people that are in the New Albany School District. And then on September the 25th, we have an election. What that election is what happens in that election is you either vote for or against the bond. The reason why it's very important that we educate the public is because we want them to know exactly what's happening. We want them to know where every dollar goes. Even more importantly, we want them to know it costs them no more money. Now that's very, so when that rolls on, to answer your question, I didn't answer your question yet, I'm sorry. So as it rolls off, the election takes place, think of this, the election takes place, like I said, in the end of September. Now those bonds will be issued probably in the summer of 19. That's how that happens. So in your last bond payment is paid off just before, if that makes sense. So it's just like Mayor Kim was talking about. I mean, you can think of it as year 21, year 22, but in reality, it's year 1 of the new bond, year 2 of the new bond. But does that answer?
Yeah.
So Lance, I know you've said several times that it doesn't, you're not increasing anybody's taxes, but you actually are, because the bond would stop and then the taxes are, I mean, we're paid off this bond. It's just a new bond, so it's still going to increase. It increases, I mean, they're increased right now. So if we didn't have that bond, they would go back down, essentially. Or the other thing is I mean, and of course I'm for the schools. I want to improve the schools, absolutely. But we as a city board right now are looking at increasing millage rate. We're going to talk about that a little while about for city things. Because we have road problems and we have other problems. So I'm just saying, you know, there's a lot, we've been paying on this for 20 years, and obviously the schools are top priority. But I think it's important for the public to also know that are we picking and choosing between schools or roads, or, you know, I don't want to do that. And so we're looking at some increases. We're going to have to increase the millage rate too.
See, we're not increasing the millage rate. No, ma'am, I'm sorry.
No, but you're not, but it's already increased right now, and it's going to be paid off and then it's done. Do you see what I'm saying? So then you're going to bring it back up.
I mean, if you want to look at it that way. So, I mean, if you want to look at it that way, yeah. I mean, but if you were looking at it that way, what you're saying is, you know, that would be someone not wanting to support. And I'm not saying you're not, but thinking of it that way is someone not wanting to support the improvements of the school district. Now, you're not, right? But I would tell you, just like I'm in favor, I live in the city of New Albany. And you can increase whatever you need to increase for me to pay for the roads. For me to pay for the roads, for me to pay for the city, for me to pay for the whatever it might be. Now, the difference, I don't want to get into, the difference would be when you talk about increasing you're talking about more like a tax increase from the standpoint of our operational budget. Okay, because that's where you will definitely see, I mean, my taxes are going to increase. Right? So, from our standpoint, taxes do not increase. And I'm not what you're saying. The taxes don't increase whatsoever.
Well, they don't increase what they are now, but they're still.
So, these improvements that we're talking about making with this, does that get you to, I mean, at your current student capacity and your expectations of growth and all that, the length of this, does it get you to where, how long can you last in your current environment?
What it does, that's a good question. What it does is it ensures that what we currently have is set up to be, it ensures what we currently have is operational for the future. Now, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, 7 years from now, it would kind of be predicting the future if I were to tell you that we were going to have. Now, I hope we have a huge increase in population and a huge increase in students in our school district. I hope that we have that. That would be what would end up happening about year 3 of a bond. In this case, special short-term bond. Now you're doing demographic studies. You're doing lots of things to predict where your population is going to be. Because if you end up at the end of that, let's say 7 years, okay? So if you end up at the end of that 7 years, you have to build a new school. But what ends up happening is there's lots of things you can do. You can rearrange grades. You can do lots of different things that ensure that you have because you could have a 10 through 12 high school. You could have a 9 through 12 high school. You could have a pre-K through 4th grade elementary. You could have a 5th, 6th, 7th grade, 8th grade middle type environment. You could have a 9th grade academy, and then a 10 through 12 high school. There's lots of different grade configurations that you do that help offset that population. But currently, to directly answer your question, with the anticipated growth we have, yes, sir, over that 5 to 7 years, we should be okay. Unless we have like this huge influx.
But in 7 years, you're gonna then need a new school. I mean, I'm just saying, it's always gonna need.
It's a perpetual process. It is a perpetual process.
Mr. Superintendent, you want to have an election on the 25th of September, I'd have to ask the circuit clerk. I know a county-wide election costs about 12 grand. I'm not sure what it would cost just for the city, but it's going to be a piece of money. You have another election already scheduled 42 days later. The general election is for this year. What is the need of having an election that quickly?
It's important to have it. It needs to be on a single ballot by itself.
Why is
The
that?
city will not incur any.
Why is that? Why would it have to be on a single ballot?
It doesn't have to be.
Then why do it then?
Well, because the timing of it, for one. I mean, the timing of it for us, it is the optimal time for us to ensure that we have the best opportunity to pass our bond. I mean, and the city would not incur any of the cost of that.
So, but
We're talking about two.
some tax money is going to pay for the election, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you have copies of these packets you passed out?
I'll get you a copy.
I'd like to have one. Thank you.
It won't be tonight because I don't have them.
I'll see if I get one. Thanks. I'm fine with it.
And I would like, if you don't mind, I'd love to sit down and have a conversation. You go with certainly, if you don't mind.
I'd be glad.
He loves conversation. All right, anybody got any other questions?
Thanks for coming to share.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda is legal shield.
Well, good evening, and thank you all for allowing me this opportunity to speak with you all today. Anna Dobbs, legal associate. Guess what? No money involved. All I want you guys to think about are your city employees. We have 2 employee voluntary benefits that would actually keep your employees engaged at work and less absenteeism, right? So it's not going to cost us. It's not going to cost the city anything. It's self-paid by the employees. And what it is a legal protection plan. It is an identity theft protection plan, and we're not competing with you, sir. I mean, we're not competing with you, and we're not competing with PBA with the police department. The police department has a legal protection plan for their officers. That's great, but what about the other employees? Do employees need legal protection? I would say so. If you think about it, your employees on a daily basis are dealing with things like refinancing, loan modifications, foreclosures, bankruptcies, divorces, child custody, child support issues, getting their wills done, and I know he's not going to be able to do all that for the employees of this city. Okay, so these are things that employees are having to take off work to do. We do identity theft restoration. In restoration, that means we restore that employee's identity for them. They do not have to take off work, spend hours and hours of contacting different agencies and trying to restore their identity. And with the fine police department, it is very difficult to try to restore an identity to your citizen if someone is using that person's social security number to work under, if someone is using that person's medical information, black market, selling their information on the black market, especially dealing with the IRS. It is pretty difficult to even call the IRS to get them on the telephone. If your employees have a membership with ID Shield, all they have to do is pick the phone up on a 10-minute break, get their licensed private investigator on their case, and they go back to work. They're not stressed out, they don't have to worry about it, it's done. Same thing with a legal plan. All they have to do is tap the app, get their attorney on the line, put that problem in the attorney's hand. They have a law firm, put it in their hands, and they go back to work. Because you know, if a person is thinking about divorce, thinking about bankruptcy, refinancing, things of that nature, their attention is not completely on their job. And like I say, it's completely paid for by the employees, nothing from the city. I got some information, you just share those for us. Nothing for the city, so we're proposing that you allow the employees to take a look at it and decide for themselves if it's something that they can use for themselves and their families. The plan covers the whole family. There's a price list in the back, on the right side in the back, on some of those folders. There's a price list, and it's very affordable. It covers the whole family, and that's what we're proposing for you. And if you're thinking to yourselves that people don't need a legal plan, we are in over 35,000 companies as we speak and growing, okay? Also, 2 out of 3 of your employees we've done a analysis, a decision analyst. Company has done a research on the legal needs of American families, and about 2 out of 3 employees every year take off because of a legal situation. And they're using their other benefits to cover it, like sick days. You know, with our plan, if you use it, it's not costing you. With other plans, they're using it. You know, you have to pay money out of pocket because you got to replace that person or even pay that person for a sick day or sick leave. So I'm proposing that you give us an opportunity to share with your employees a legal protection plan. And I did get that restoration. I'm not going to say protection. It's a restoration plan that will restore your employee's identity no matter what it takes, without them having to take off time from work.
So is this just something that you just, like we hand out to the employees and it's their option to?
Since it's such a unique benefit, we would need the opportunity to actually present it to the employees. I tell you what a lot of other cities have done is allow each department to schedule a time, even if it's a meeting already that you have scheduled, or we come in on the lunch break, bring the lunch, and the lunch and learn. We just kind of educate them on the benefits so they can make an intelligent, informed decision if this can help them or not.
You normally do this with like an insurance broker when they do the open enrollment?
Well, we don't, we can, but we're not a cafeteria plan. It can be done any time of year. But we like to come in not during that time because, like I said, it's a unique benefit. And if it's not explained to them, they'll look at this and say, well, I don't need a legal plan. They're not thinking that, you know, I may have a child that's got a traffic ticket that need a traffic attorney to go to court for that child. They may not be thinking I might have an accident, someone is hurt or killed. I need legal representation. It's already paid for with this plan. They not be thinking, you know, I need to get my will done. I'm gonna take off work and I gotta go downtown and go somewhere to get my will done. They don't have to do that with this. It's all done with the phone. If there's civil charges against your employees, you know, they have representation already paid for. And they cannot use this service against the city or any of its employees, the legal part. So it's a plan that needs to be explained. We have time to explain it to them. And we'll come back and service you every year and come back and answer any questions that they have, even if we're not even trying to enroll. We just come back and help employees understand the benefits.
Can you tell me municipalities in North Mississippi that you
Sure.
work with?
Over half of the schools in Mississippi already has the legal protection plan and identity theft protection plan. Lee County has, not Lee County, City of Tupelo Police Department has our services. Neshoba County Board of Supervisors, Aberdeen City Police Department, Monroe County schools, City of Amherst schools, City of Aberdeen schools has it. It's just, we're nationwide. This company is nationwide. I don't know if I put anything in that packet about our company, but the company is called Legal Shield, and it is a 46-year-old company. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. And I dare you to Google identity breaches that have happened since January of 2018 and see what you come up with. And we know it's not going to get any better, it's just going to get worse. People are going to keep trying to use other people's identity. Immigrants are coming in and they're using someone's social security number to get work, so it's just going to get worse and worse. Medical insurance is astronomically high. People are using other people's medical information to get procedures done and services rendered, and it's just not going to get any better. And we're pretty much a sue USA. So litigation is getting more and more broad-spread. So your employees need some protection.
Thank you.
Thank you. So when can I maybe follow back up to see if you made a decision? And who may I call?
You just need to call my air City Hall. They'll let you know what to say.
Okay, and there's a time frame?
What do y'all think?
Can't leave it up to the employees.
Well, I mean, we gotta get that.
The only way you can leave it up to them is not going to explain what it is.
Let her know something.
30 days.
Yeah.
Give us 30 days to,
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
we gotta take 30 days off.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move to departmental business. Light, gas, and water. Bill, you got something?
Mayor, we gotta approve some bids. These are the bids on the traffic signals at Highway 30 West and Coker Avenue. We had two different companies that submitted bids. Lewis Electric is the low bidder, $115,131, and that's who we would recommend to choose. And then you can put the high mass arms up in your traffic signals for widening the road.
Got a motion by Johnny, do I have a second? Second by Keith, any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries.
One other thing I have there, I sent y'all an email about a meeting for the August 22nd, the American Public Gas Association contacted us earlier in the year about having a meeting, and I didn't think a lot about it. I thought it was going to be for, and it really is kind of for gas companies around here, but the national group is taking a tour through the Southeast, and we're really only stopping in Mississippi, so it is kind of a nice thing for us to be able to, I guess, host the event. It's not open to the general public, but you all are definitely invited to come get, let me know. I can get you, I'll make sure to get you a place at the table. It's going to be out of Taylor's, and Lynn or Jerry, if either of you have interest in going, I can certainly see if I can get you to attend. But just want to remind you about that. They sent an email out. It's August 22nd. I think that's a Wednesday. The meeting starts around 10, but the lunch will be at 11:30, and there's a question and answer after that. So you don't have to attend the whole thing, just all or part. Yep, just
We'll make sure we attend the lunch.
yeah, we'll come to the meeting. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Community development. Tracy? Billy Jean, I'll get out of
I'm
here.
taking over Billie Jean's spot today. I think we both sent you the things that you've been working on for the last month, and I don't have anything really to report. Do you have any questions about either the Riverfest plan or The access road, I do have a question, you want to know the Sine. We booked the Sine and Alderman Tucker and I have talked a little bit about the Sine being used for Riverfest Saturday for the Case Knife Show, and weren't sure if anyone knew how the plans for repairs were coming, if we should start investigating a different venue.
We're gonna discuss that tonight.
Okay, all right, if you could just follow up with Billie Jean and let her know.
Okay.
And we'll figure out, whatever else we need to figure out. But I don't know if you guys have questions for me that I can answer.
What's the date?
September
September
29th, Saturday, September 29th.
Okay.
And it is an official, we're working with the Case Knife Company. They're naming it the Case Knife Tallahatchie Riverfest Show. And I would say they've invested a lot of time and money in it, as at least we want to make sure that we've got a place set up before they start putting out their promotions and stuff.
So we've come forward in repairing that, right? I mean,
We're gonna discuss that tomorrow.
oh, we're, sorry.
It's for earlier conversation.
And then do we want to discuss later the Riverfest plan? We'll go ahead right now. Can I make a motion now? Or?
Yeah, I mean, we got, it's on the,
It's on here.
somewhere.
So I'm gonna make
You can make a motion.
to approve the Riverfest plan.
All right, I have a second with Kevin Dale. Any other questions or discussion?
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Does that include the hospitality tent?
Yes, sir.
Okay, before we vote.
Okay, that's Alan J on this. So that'll include Alan J. Okay, any other questions or discussion?
Let me say one other thing. I don't have a problem with the plan except for that.
Okay.
And so if I have to vote against the whole thing, I'll have to, but that's the only thing I've got a problem with.
No,
What is the plan? I mean, we never approved the plan for Riverfest. I don't know what, it's not even on the agenda, is it?
Well, it's part of the hospitality tent.
So that's what your motion is to approve?
That was the Riverfest that I sent out to, I think everyone, maybe, I don't know if you got it or not, Frankie.
She emailed it out, and then it's part of where it says hospitality town J. That's what it is.
okay, any other questions or discussion? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. All right, motion carries. Like you got anything?
Can I request one thing about the access road?
Yes, sir.
I think we all, none of us are really, I think Billie Jean and maybe you had said, let's hold off on
Yes,
that. But I'm not clear exactly where the road's gonna be. I would request that maybe y'all get with us and take us down there and show us exactly what you got in mind.
That was kind of what the email was saying, that maybe just to kind of get an overall, we probably all need to meet together down there and walk it. And then just kind of get, I guess, look at the big picture. Because I think we've discussed that often in our community development meetings, and Billie Jean and I, and just kind of off and on with everyone, just that we'd rather kind of have a big picture plan of what the city's gonna be, what our landscaping, what our signage, before we actually do that. So Billie Jean and I were willing to table it and say, let's wait and hopefully have something in place and ready for next year's festivals.
And Will brought up some good questions about the roads. I'd like for us all to go down there and have.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, thanks. I don't see Park and Rec playground equipment. Amy, you don't think?
Yeah, that's just real quick. Kevin Dale and I had a meeting with some citizens from our wards 1 and 3, because Kevin Dale and I both, well, mainly Kevin Dale has parks in his ward, and I have some I have, well, 2, I think we said. I have 2 and you have 3. So we just met with some citizens. Billie Jean and Tracy came, and then Johnny Epting came, and we just all started talking about coming up with, once again, a plan on just getting some playground equipment and updating equipment. It was a really good meeting 1. And so we talked about, we would love to just kind of start prioritizing with you guys, talk about which park's a priority. We did some surveys. I've got some surveys. Did some Facebook polls and some different things to kind of see what the community wants. So right now we're just asking people, Kevin Dale and I mainly, but you can obviously contact any of your aldermen and let them know which park do you think is priority, so that we can kind of take it one park at a time. And Johnny Epting was a great help, and I think it's gonna be a good, just little small steps to kind of improve our playgrounds and parks.
All right, thank you. Police department.
Good evening, Mayor and Board.
Evening.
We got just a few things. I've given Ms. Frankie a copy of everything, but we were paid a visit by the state auditor's office this week, or actually last week. And they were going around making departments aware that there's been some controversy, primarily in the southern part of the state, on police vehicles that have what is commonly referred to as ghost riding, which basically means these vehicles are marked, but they are marked in a way that you can only see the writing if the sun's at a certain angle, the vehicle's at a certain angle. So they basically told us they weighed in that they consider those to be unmarked vehicles, and that we don't have any of those vehicles. But in the course of the conversation, they also brought us the law showing that any of our unmarked vehicles would need to be approved in the board in the board minutes. That every county and city has the authority to do that determination and put it in the board minutes, and as far as that's done, they're satisfied with it. So I've included a list. This is the case law. It included a list, and I've already given Ms. Frankie, of all our unmarked vehicles. It just needs to be put in the board minutes that these are the unmarked vehicles registered in the police department. I don't know if we need a vote on that or not, Reagan, or just make the board aware of it.
Well, you said it sounded like there needed to be a vote, so there's no harm in having a vote.
Okay.
It probably wouldn't hurt to put who drives those vehicles, or what department they go to or something.
Those,
I mean, investigator, drug, or, you know.
Does that need to be specified? Maybe
not according to the law.
Nah, but I mean, just for y'all
Just
sake.
for us.
I mean, it don't matter to me.
Frankie, would it help you? I mean, do you need that?
That might be what I want, but
I don't know the answer. I would think the more detail, the better. Kevin, have you done it? Who's doing it? Yeah.
So they just need to be in the minutes, that they are unmarked.
yes, according to the state office.
Make it a motion to approve those unmarked vehicles.
Then I'll sign and I'll take the
Yeah,
lead.
you can just tell me.
Yeah.
Okay, so second.
I got a motion for second, any other questions, discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, there also, I think on the agenda is a vehicle that, I think we classified as abandoned property or one came off. It is, I think it's up tonight. Ed Reagan sent an email on it. It's a 300 Chrysler.
Yeah, that's right. That was one that was abandoned. They could not forfeit it as they normally do. We voted to put it up for notice, 120 days. They're up either today or tomorrow. We now have to advertise to sell it by posting it, and have to do that at least 10 days. So frankly, we'll post it tomorrow. Last time we did this, we did it in gov deals.
Yes.
So I would suggest, it's good with you, maybe a day, maybe 14 days from today, you can put it in gov deals. We should need to approve that sale.
All right.
That was a price, remember what was it?
I think it's Chrysler 300.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they can be separate and we can do it all at the same time, right? But I have two more vehicles that we have seized through the narcotics operations that have been awarded to the task force. I think it's different. I think it's going to be different how, where the funds end up, right, Grady, between that one and these two.
I don't know where those funds are, though. This goes to general.
Yeah, well, these were awarded back to the task force.
Okay, mine's a little different.
So it's separate.
Need a motion to approve the sale of the 300 Chrysler. That motion by Will, have a second? Second by Johnny,
As
abandoned property.
14 days from today, 5 p.m. is what it is last time.
14 days from the day.
All right, any other questions, discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
I also have these two vehicles. One is a 1997 Honda Civic, and one is a 2007 Chrysler Sebring. Both were seized for drug dealers and have been gone through the court process and awarded back to us.
You gonna put those on good?
Yes.
I need most of those too.
I just have a quick question. Remember when we were using that Brandon? Are we not doing that? We just put everything on Gov Deals now? We don't use them anymore?
The last few times on ours, we used Gov Deals
Okay.
because it's
I just
basically,
know he's local and he wanted that.
Yeah, but I think we gotta wait till he has to say it
Before we do it. Okay, Gov Deals.
yeah, and it kind of puts it out to everybody and it's easily trackable. on
Okay,
this.
okay. So good.
All right, Keith, then.
Oh, second.
Amy, any other questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
I also request, we have 2 positions open in the police department. One that would be Jonathan Martin, who's already certified recently through the police academy. And the other is Chad Glass, who's already certified also.
So,
Motion by Will, second by Johnny. Any other questions, discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you,
I
sir.
appreciate the vote.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
The grants on there,
Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to request, matter of fact, we're requesting some clarification on that. The fact of the matter is, they've risen our numbers or set the bar higher for our numbers and lowered the money dramatically. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to make those numbers, and before I obligate us, it's something I know pretty well, we're probably not going to be able to do, make sure there's no consequences or repercussions. And I've sent that up in line to have that basically answered. And I'm waiting to hear back from the folks I need to speak with and try to get done last week. They've gone on vacation. So we got an email from them today that said they're starting to work on it, but I have not, as of 5 o'clock today, I have not heard their response. So if the board would allow me a little more time to make sure we get that clarification.
Thank
you. Thank you for reminding me. I didn't forget about that. Thank you.
Okay, fire department.
I don't have any departmental issues, but the mayor asked me to kind of brief you on a potential problem we got. During the course of them doing some work at the Civic Center a couple of weeks ago, replacing the ceiling tiles from the leaks, and they were putting the roof on. Some of what wound up appearing to be leaks from the ceiling tile or from the ceiling has actually been issues with the sprinkler system. That system was designed in about 2001, put in. Currently, they don't install that type of piping systems anymore. That's been phased out. For whatever reason, but that's, it's thin wall pipe. Looks like most of the issues that we saw as they had tiles out were in joints. Right now, it's holding. It may hold 2 hours or 2 months or another year. It could spring a leak any time. We actually, on his advice, contacted a few of the sprinkler companies to have them come look at it. So they are in the process of looking for what they think can be done to potentially remedy the problem. The problem is, of course, as you all know, a leak in the system, a major leak, we're going to be able to get down, shut it off. It's flow monitored. It's on alarm. We've got a key to get in. The guys know where to cut it off. But still, you're going to have some damage. So basically, that's kind of where we're at now, looking at what the avenues are of what they're going to come in at. It's going to be expensive, I'm afraid.
Like, what does that give us ballpark?
If they got it, put a new system in, one of the quotes is $300,000. Now,
That is worst, I think that's the worst case scenario. That's complete new ceiling, complete new system and all. I don't think that needs to be that way. I think, the repairable valve. But, the
The
facility.
problem is the main pipes can't be repaired. They're leaking, and they're thin pipes. And so they're leaking at the joints. And basically, I guess it's whatever they decide needs to be replaced.
This is a historic building, right?
No, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. And it does, right now, we can't get any grants on it, but if we were a certified local government, we could, right? Is that how I understand? I need to look that up. I think we can get some grants on some historic buildings. I'll look into it.
That figure though,
Department of Archives, but there's also some other,
that figure's one preliminary estimated figure. I think that is on the extremely high end of repair cost of that. I mean, that's completely taking out what's there and putting it in to meet current code. So,
okay.
But you can expect between 100 and 300.
And that would repair the whole thing?
here's the issue.
Is that the roof and everything?
Here's the main problem. It's always more expensive to retrofit than it is to put it in as new construction.
Right.
Then you've got the type of facility that is, the front rooms, the magnolia room, and those areas, that's easily repairable, accessible. Till you get into that auditorium with that soil floor. And I don't think anybody's gonna work on that without a scaffold project, and that's part of it too. So there's various reasons why the cost could be high.
But it is an historical building, so we have to look into all that. Okay.
But,
Is that including the roof stick? Did you know that's not, that's just a pipe from
That's
the
a
water?
sprinkler system.
Should always say we don't need a roof.
We did that.
I'm assuming.
That was definitely leaking.
We did
But
that.
a lot of those tiles that were stained, that we thought from a roof leak, were from that sprinkler
Okay,
system.
but we knew
Leaking.
the roof.
Oh,
That
yeah.
wasn't staying.
No, it was leaking in several places.
No,
All right.
this was found in, I guess you had the contractor in there replacing the
Tiles.
damaged tile, and they found them when they were doing that.
So if we didn't fix it, it's gonna continue to leak.
And it could rupture. And then, before you get it shut off, it'd do a lot of water damage.
That was installed in 2001 and when it was renovated.
I believe so. Superior, but they changed names, I think, now. It was their representative is one of the companies that's been down to look at it and gone, there's some quality way.
But they quoted, as far as we can tell, by spec, by what was spec then. Well, now they wouldn't,
So can we just shut the water off? That's
you couldn't
illegal.
put people in
You
there.
can, but you
But you're
want
going
to
against code,
shut the building down.
because of code.
Or the fire marshal and whoever it is.
Well, we're not using it right now, right?
No, I mean, if you shut it down, if you say,
Here's the problem with that. If you drain it now, it's gonna leak when you cut it back on. There's no doubt.
Okay.
So the water surge itself, by draining it and recharging it, could blow. So that's, it's a bad deal. And, it's not gonna be anything that they can go down there and fix cheap. I'm just gonna tell you, it's not gonna be. So, but you need to know that there's potentially gonna be some issues. So I'll answer any questions that I can. We will continue to wait on a few more. I think we got one more coming in. Yeah. One more quote. Looking like. And we may have to go back to them and say, hey, let's see about fixing what's wrong.
Is there an option with that high ceilings to look at a below ceiling application?
No, not the current code now, because it's got a combustible deck. Still, the issue is the slope floors. If it was that high ceiling and flat, it wouldn't be a big deal. They put a lift in there and it runs. Lifts won't run on slope floor because they got level indicators on them, so.
Well, they put scaffolding in there all the time, work on those lights. They got lights hanging from the ceiling right now, but they have to pull the seating into the job.
I mean, it's really, you know, a lot of that's a lot of expenses. Yeah, so, you know, it's not an ideal facility to have to be repaired and just by the way it's the floor.
The scaffolding now, that high, has to be installed by OSHA approved scaffolding company. So you just can't, you know, they can't go in there and set up their own stuff and do.
Yeah, this one, that's what this one gentleman that we're waiting on is. They don't scaffold anything. Their company won't let them. So if they have a job that requires scaffolding, they have to scaffold contract. So.
Okay.
At some point in time, something's gonna have to be done, there's no doubt.
Thought you didn't have anything tonight.
Well, I really didn't, so
Not too bad.
he threw that on.
I didn't want the bad news coming from me.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to see it when we went down there that day and looked at it, because I knew, you know.
All right, so y'all, remind me again, so B&A owns the Civic Center, but we own.
They own the Magnolia Room,
They have no Magnolia Room, okay, but we own the
the rest of
the
it.
rest of it, got it.
With Lisa.
Did y'all see where I was going? I was kind of hoping that,
Oh.
yeah,
Well, at least we have like a 99-year lease.
yeah, okay. I was thinking maybe they could pay for it.
That's the very inexpensive part.
Right, I got you.
Magnolia Room.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
What, events do we have already lined up?
It's just for Main Street, it's just the Case Knife Show. I don't know about any, I guess Brittany would know who's got the rooms tentatively booked.
I mean, we can still use it,
What's that?
right?
School plays, I
They
guess?
use it for the case night show.
It's usable as it says.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
There's usable right now, I'm on.
But it's on the road, but it's on the way.
What is it?
October, I think.
October, so.
And then they do the, yeah,
Case
those
Knife
windows,
September.
dogs that play, they do
This
this.
thing,
I don't think they do those at all.
Oh, they're not doing that?
Jill said that they don't need the Cine or
During Bond-
during, well, not over Riverfest weekend. Is
Okay, and that's the same, that's the fun. Okay,
All right, let's move on.
We'll forward you on any further information to get on, maybe we can make the most economical way.
and it will be like a two-month project when we start. They're out.
Step on up, Eric, you're next, anyway.
I don't have bad news like that. I emailed the monthly report. Y'all got any questions on it? At the zoning meeting, we had a request from Kevin Charles Fine Upholstery at 927 Slam Town Market for a variance in the siding and parking requirements that was approved by the zoning board. That property is zoned I-1, which is industrial. And we also have two members that are going to be rolling off of the zoning board that we will need to be replacing by next month.
Just one.
4 and
one. Hey, and Reagan, remember when we updated those, zoning board, I don't know if we called it policy or procedures, we put in what we recommended, like that they would have certain credentials. Eric and I looked for that today, and it's probably in Dropbox. Can you send that maybe to us? Okay.
Yeah.
And remember, we updated their term too, where they would be 3 years once they're appointed.
Yeah, that was the order.
The ordinance, but we also changed the kind of criteria that they would have some qualifications, or we recommended them.
so that's something to be thinking about. They'll be here till the next zoning meeting, but next board meeting.
We need to appoint two in September.
Positive.
And it needs to preferably come from my ward and John,
Well, you got,
or Will, sorry.
Well, we had no, it's all over the board. There is one from every ward.
But it doesn't have to
necessarily have to be. Yeah.
Were there 8, 7, 9?
so, we got, what's all had it, but we got like
2 and
3,
2 and 4.
2 and 4.
And the other 3's go.
There's only one and one, and he's going.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be a board. I mean,
we got 2.
if they're qualified,
Yeah. But it's hard to get.
it is. That's a hard job.
About the lower qualification.
It was recommended.
Raise the pay.
Huh?
Raise the
Down
pay.
to right, it don't-
You got somebody with, sir?
I talked to one guy,
Hey, Ray,
you sure that's wrong?
doing it right now.
We need some input on that for sure. On the code enforcement side, I'd like to ask the board to use the city resources to clean and remove the condemned structure from 1100 Pelham.
1100, is it on here? I guess that's. It's on 1114 here.
Hell, that is good. That's the house that.
We already condemned.
Okay. All right.
Yes. So,
Keith, second by Kevin Dale, any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It looks carried.
The next one, I'd like to set a public hearing for September 4th meeting for a house, 615 3rd Street, to condemn the property. The structure is unsafe and unfit for human occupancy.
Motion by Keith, and second by Kevin Dale, any other questions or discussion? All in favor? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like to set another public hearing for September 4th meeting for the house at 1114 Rosewood, to condemn the property.
Motion by Johnny, second by Will, any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. All right, let's move to general city business. We're going all the way through that one, Bill. Looks like item A is approval of correction of claims docket for July of 18.
I make a motion to approve everything except line item 135-0.
What is that?
It's charged under the visa for Kirk rental car 001-000-051.
Who,
That was a Reno Berry deal where you got
oh,
a
yeah.
parking up there.
Oh, yeah, I don't, yeah, I'm with you.
What we're gonna do is charge on the credit card.
It's already been charged.
Haven't you paid it?
Credit card may not have been paid, but I think it was paid with credit card.
The hurts, the wrong place. I'm sure it is.
So, let me just make sure I understand. So, Tim, you made the decision, right? Okay.
Tim brought something to my attention that I don't recall for me about authorization for the mayor to approve certain things below certain value. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I'll explain that better.
Well, yes,
So he
up
can-
to 5,000.
So you can technically make that.
Yeah, and then, you know, that's just a call we had to make right thing, because we cut the street to put a water meter in, and we didn't patch it. And he hit the hole that we cut. So I felt like at least we owed him a way to work.
Well, that's not true. When we turned it over to our insurance company, our insurance said that we won't buy it.
But they did say if his insurance company contact them, they'd work it out. they pay that part. That is the truth, what do you mean it's not true? We took the
Water
street.
valve, what it was paved that way, it was a water valve.
No.
They didn't pave, it didn't cover it up.
No, by pictures we've seen that the street would have opened.
Yes.
They did a whole street.
Because it's tire fell off. They had aftermarket wheels on vehicles that wasn't designed to have on, and the threads come off. There was nothing wrong with the wheel. They had him in a rental car for about 3 weeks, so he could have been driving his own car, but had a spare tire on his own car. Our insurance company, Bill, you still in here? The light, gas, and water insurance, that's an insurance turned over, and they said we weren't liable in that.
Well, it was a Mississippi Municipal that has the live insurance in. We sent it to them. It was a few days after that. I think as soon as Reno hit or had the accident, we saw them there. And that's when, get kind of in the interim, I guess, the rental car together. It was a few days after that before I found out about the incident. We sent it to our insurance company. It took them a few days to rule on it to say, no, we're going to deny the claim. And the reason they denied the claim, Reno can help me with this term there. Reno, when he was talking to him, he told him he drove that street frequently and he knew that area was a problem on the street. But there was a car coming, so he wasn't able to avoid the street cut, so he hit it. Anyway, the insurance company said since he knew it was there and he knew he had a highly customized, specialized car, that he should have taken extra caution or care to not hit it. Is what the insurance guy said. But he said, so I said, so should he just file with his insurance? They said, yes, he filed with his insurance and we will probably subrogate the claim. They'll probably deal with it.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and deal with the motion tonight? Pass that to executive session since it is a potential litigation matter. We can discuss it individually later.
So we'll pass the docket except for that.
Pass that to the executive session. All right, let's move on to,
Mr. Mayor, if I would interrupt just a minute. We have a special guest who walked in here. I think he wants to address the board. If y'all have just a minute.
okay,
I can do less than a minute. I'm Kelly Luther. I'm one of the 3 circuit judges now, serving a district from Walnut to Calhoun City. I worked here for 20 years as an assistant district attorney. I got lucky enough to come from good work, hard work people in Union County to get elected. They gave me 93% of the vote 4 years ago. And I hope I haven't done anything to make anybody mad enough I won't get them. But I've got the same opponent I had 4 years ago, and I love my job and I want to keep it. The election be in November, if y'all can help me out, I'd appreciate it. And y'all go back to work now.
All right,
Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you, Mayor.
yes, sir. All right, let's move to item B, it's approved June the 5th.
We didn't vote on that, hasn't we? We made a motion.
Oh, you made a motion to pay it off except that. Do I have a second for that?
A second, I'm sorry.
Okay. Second, Amy, any other question or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Move to item B, approve June the 5th, 2018 minutes. Got a motion with John, have a second. Second by Amy. Any other question or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. Item C is approved June the 14th, 2018 minutes. Motion by Kevin Dale, have a second. Second by John, any other question or discussion? All in favor?
I got a question. Was that the meeting that I was here? Was that the one with the communication? How did you have to, that's going to make
This one where everybody asks on the telephone.
Yeah, they had 3 here, 2 on the phone.
You walked in, took the room.
Yeah, you walked in with him. All right, any other questions on that? We get a motion in a second. Who second that? Johnny? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of July 3rd, 2018 minutes. Motion by Keith, second by Amy. Any other questions or discussion?
Yeah, I do. I wasn't here that meeting. How would I need to vote? Just abstain?
And that's the one I was on my phone, thank you. You got that in a minute, right?
Oh, you are. Okay. All right, all in favor? Any opposed? You abstain, yeah. Okay, item E is authority to publish notice of public hearing on budget year, for budget year of 9/30/19.
Let me ask a couple questions about that. What all has to be included in that? Is that where we show if we are gonna raise taxes or we're not gonna raise taxes? I think we need to, at some point, get down here and talk about the millage, possibly before we make that decision.
You'll defer to that then?
Well, I'm just thinking.
Now?
It's not okay, so. Yeah. I mean, that may be where we need to go now.
Let's move this and do it then. 2018-19 millage discussion. Okay, you want to bring it off?
I mean, what we talked about, we're talking about increasing the millage rate specifically for road improvement.
And my question was, and I didn't know how much we could raise it without having, public vote on it, just could we make a decision to raise it? How many mills did we find that out?
I was asked, so I haven't looked it up, but
Okay, so we don't know that answer.
Is the overall millage rate, is it 126
Streets.
for the overall city?
No, it's, so
City's 7.88.
7.88.
That's three street improvements in.
Is that close to three, maybe 2
Street.
It's 3 on the street.
3 0 is the millage street.
Out of 7.8.
I'm at 3.3 already.
At one time, we tried to pay 8 miles a year. There's 82 or 3 miles in the city. And it's just not there anymore. Asphalt's 3 times what it was then. So, what we got now,
You gotta break down what it is. Can you share, can you share with us what the breakdown is right now? And what's, you got that, you got it for every,
all right, general fund is 1.50. Street improvements, 3.30. Solid waste is 1.0. Fire protection, 1.38. And 911 levy is 0.70, which totals 7.88 mills.
And I just want to make sure because we need to make sure the public understands what a mill is. Because people do, because I know when I got into office, I was just learning that. So a lot of people don't know what.
For instance, 7.88 mills on a house valued at $100,000 would be $78.08 a year. 1 mill would be $10 a year on a $100,000 valued house. That's all. That's the simplest way I know to explain it.
And the valuation is typically less than the actual market value considered.
Yeah.
I think it's in the 60% range.
Probably.
plus offset reduction if it's your home.
Because I know when people hear raising taxes, they flip out, but when you're raising just a couple of bills, it's not.
It doesn't make a huge difference, and the overall millage rate that you pay on your property taxes, the vast majority of it goes to the county. I believe it's the schools and the county as well. Because I think the overall mills added together, county, schools, and city is 126. The city's a very small portion of it.
And we have one of the lowest millage rates in the state.
What's good, how much is that? A total, it says a total millage rate is 67.81. They make
For the schools and the
schools in the city,
61.
67.81.
And 7.88 is that?
Cities,
Is the
yeah.
city, so 67.81 is the school.
59.
I mean 59, I'm
59,
sorry, minus
right.
7.88, okay.
No, no, ma'am.
What is
The
it?
only reason I'm speaking up is because it looks like we can do that.
Yeah.
That's incorrect information. It's 53.1
Okay, thank you.
53.
for operations.
Well, the 11 for maintenance.
Yeah, but the
11 for bond.
bonds, 11.
But yeah, I was just making sure to specify the difference.
That, yeah, there's a, okay, thank you.
How much is golf?
11. So, it has to be in the paper by Wednesday? Tomorrow, is that tomorrow, Wednesday? A week from tomorrow.
So it has to be to them by what, 9 Monday?
How much are we talking about millage wise?
Well, I need to know how much we can raise it. I kind of need to know a little bit more.
Well, look at the paper, you're not committed to a certain amount, you're just saying we either.
Oh, you're not committed to a certain amount? You just have to
So you have
notify.
to put them out.
Oh, you do?
You have to change your millage.
Yeah.
See,
Okay.
schools doesn't, but we do.
How much is a mill raise?
The mill's around 60,000.
Yeah.
Well, how much money do you need?
We, you know,
For roads,
we need to-
it's 125,000 at least a mile to overlay. So 2 mills would get a mile,
we need,
basically, maybe.
Mayor, I told Johnny, I don't think he ever called me back on it, but I did check on Park Plaza. When that road was built, there was some federal money used to build it. And there's no money out there, either on the state or federal level, to pay for overlay. It'll have to be local money.
And I misspoke once or twice. I thought it was a state aid road, freeway stopped at Walmart, Stratton, but it was built to state aid specification. If I understand, it's state aid maintenance.
There's an APL road, which is a federal road.
But they don't have any more. How far is that?
I'm gonna say based on what he said to right there at Walmart.
Yeah.
So the three-way stop and turns to Walmart?
Yeah, the retention, basin in front of Walmart, their property line goes to that, just past that area. So the commercial building where Little Caesars is, halfway between the edge of that building and that retention area is where Walmart's property ended, and that's where the road before the city, my father extended it, that's where the road ended, to my knowledge, is right there. And based off some rough calculations today, when I was getting ready for the presentation, it's about 4,500 linear feet.
So it'll take almost 2 mills to overlay.
That's just one
That's just
trip.
that.
But Highland and South Central are gonna be paid
The
with like
patch part's gonna
light,
be
gas,
paid.
and water funding, is that right?
We can't do that.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, I didn't mean to do that, I'm sorry. We can talk more about it.
I think we talked about
Okay, we'll talk more, sorry, Bill. Well, do we know number of miles that we need paid?
Hey,
So that, we need to find out from Johnny before,
yeah, probably.
we got a few days.
We have a lot of patches.
I know we can't do all of it, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd like to do all of it, but.
Is there an inventory of collector streets and arterial streets and all the different types of roads in New Albany? And are they rated as far as level of needing repair? The collector streets, the ones that all smaller streets fit into that have a higher amount of traffic, I would think would be the priority as far as repairing those. I know we've got a lot in the city overall, but if you broke it down to collector streets and then regular city streets, then I think that the percentage of collector streets would be a lot less than 82 miles. But my personal opinion, the military road needs to be double what it is or more. That's
I
just me.
do know they were rated many, many years ago, like in the 90s, but I don't think they've been rated since then. Okay, we're gonna have to have another meeting, aren't we? Y'all, unless y'all are ready to decide.
I mean, we're not gonna fix our roads.
But Larry Norris told me he was a city clerk at Tupelo for 30 years. He's working with a company in Jackson. Once he saw what our millage rate was, he was shocked. He said, man, y'all could raise the 20 mills. I ain't have to ask anybody. I don't know if that's true, but I think we'd be good at 3 mills. I mean, that's double what we got now. And it may not be enough, it won't be, but at least the people don't want to do that now.
I said it's 4.
That's up to y'all.
Yeah.
But you're not, our current street fund, we're gonna use
For cold.
About half of it,
for cost.
but still have enough left in it, about 40.
How much, Jerry?
That's about $100,000.
About 125.
Maybe 3 miles. 3.5
Is that from that stop sign to Grattan Road, how far is that?
That's about 45, almost that.
Well, from the actual stop sign, that's gonna be more than that. It's gonna be about 5,000 feet, so right at them.
Okay, that's what he's talking about.
But from the stop sign to Bratton will be probably a mile, or close to it.
Yeah, all the way. You go all the way up to Burke, all the way up
But
there.
yeah, maybe
You can go all the way, that's gonna be 1.2 miles.
One day, about 1.5.
Maybe.
Okay, y'all, I think we need a little bit more information before we make a decision like this, like raising taxes like this. So I really think we need to have an adjourned meeting, or we're gonna have to have an adjourned meeting and get information from Johnny Payton. Look at our collector street. I'm definitely think we're gonna have to raise the village and designate it for roads, but I'd like to know an exact amount. I'd like to know how much we can raise it without voting on it. Like, what's our decision? What's the public's decision?
I'm looking at something on the Senate says it says 10% annually for cities and counties, so that's raising by substantial amount.
You raise it 10% before.
Whatever it is currently.
So you could go up to 17%.
Simplistic answer, I'm not sure there are more specifics out there. That's me trying to find an answer very quickly.
And don't we need more public input? I know it's gonna be controversial, but I think if we designate it for roads, we gotta designate it, just like the school, like Lance talked about with the schools. He is showing us exactly what it's going to.
So you say we can raise it 10% of 7.88 meters?
1.12 miles from Highway 30 to the end of Park Block.
What's 10% of 7.88? 0.78.
No,
I was
I wasn't
thinking-
talking about roads, I was talking about
Overall.
taxes.
The city tax is 7.88.
But it would include overall, including schools and counties.
Maybe include the school.
Does that include total meters?
I don't know. It doesn't go.
I think we need to look at it.
Yes.
Come back.
Yeah, we'll come back. Highway 30 Starling traffic light update. We did have MDOT call out of the blue. They wanted to have a meeting and basically just give us a very preliminary idea, and they included 30 in Starling, but they did the first words out of the mouth, we have no money to fund what we're about to show you. So they want to get everything ready, even the entrance and exit ramps. In case federal money does come down, they'll have it ready to apply for.
But we also can push for funding, because some counties are getting some money. So, anyway, when's the meeting?
we've already had a preliminary, they're coming back with they don't have a cost estimate of what they want to do now. They're coming back with what they really, they're gonna look at two things.
They did a traffic study, right?
Yeah. And the traffic study says that red light turn on Park Plaza was 281 vehicles, which they thought was extremely high, even for a big city. At rush hour, which includes from 4:45 to 5:45 in the afternoon. There's 281 vehicles turned there in the night. They said that would warrant work. And, but they didn't make any, they're gonna look at two different things as far as a roundabout on the Park Plaza end would work there. It won't work on the other end, they say. Then they got these little, looks like teardrops that go around for the entrance and exits on the 4 lane on each side. And the other option was to take the ramps as exit entrance ramps and move them closer to the bridge and get the lights separated by further. They thought they could add maybe 150 feet between the lights, and that would give them more room to stack traffic. Put an extra lane in there and give them more room to stack traffic at the light. Right after two ideas right now, they're gonna come back with cost estimates, because they don't have any idea how much it's
They
gonna
didn't give you any kind of scope.
But the study started at Munster Drive all the way to Highway 178 down below the hospital. So that whole area is in that study.
Okay, good.
Preliminary plans.
So maybe we'll know more. I don't know how long it takes them.
Well, it's good to even have a scope and a plan. I mean, at least have an idea and then,
Yeah. That's up there. I don't have any update on River Bridge. Okay, item H is the internet sales tax resolution. You got that?
Yeah, that's the people we received,
Yeah.
from the internet, and several cities have passed it. Union County passed it yesterday. Sent it out. Johnny suggested we join it as a resolution. Basically dealing with, internet businesses, say Amazon my businesses, brick and mortar businesses paid sales tax. Amazon does in some instances, but if someone in the city orders something on the internet, there's no sales tax. Well, it just passed a law which allows states to assess those, but then the question becomes, will the state share that with the municipalities? Whether the sales trigger. And so the resolution is asking them to make sure the municipalities get out their share.
So, got a motion with Keith, do I have a second? Second by Amy. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. Item L is community storm shelter discussion. I'll let Tim Dale take over, please.
Yeah, I've talked with Mr. Evans from the school. He has a little bit more information than what I have about it.
But the drink, I am struggling tonight. I am sorry.
School starts tomorrow.
Break the phone. That might not be a bad thing. We'll get it all of it. So Alderman White and I had spoke this afternoon, and we have attended several meetings with MEMA in relation to looking at storm shelters, community-wide storm shelters. There are two different options out there. There's a 90-10 grant, which means obviously we put up 10, they put up 90. There's an 80-20. Depends on, there's a couple different variations in there. It depends on kind of the overall use, obviously the overall use of the storm shelter. With that, but in looking at that, so let's say that 80-20, they only pay 80% of the shelter itself. So that's very minimal plumbing, very minimal. So, because I could see this obviously as a storm shelter, but I could also see it as a dual purpose meeting area for city and multi-use between city and schools. I would tell you that our school district, I can speak for our board, we're always in favor of supporting anything that helps our city grow and improve. Because that's what we're here to do, is to help our city, educate our citizens so that they're contributing members of society in the city. So it's a great option. I'll tell you, there's lots of people lots of school districts, and we would have potentially locations to help, because in order to get the funding, you really need to have it on property owned by a school, because it allows the school and the community to be able to use it all at one time. Because when you have a situation where a tornado is kind of bearing down on you during the school day, you need a large facility that you can get all the majority of the population into. And it needs to be geographically located to where it has access to after hours, it has access to the citizens of the city. So you see a lot of them around. You can build square ones. You don't have to build ones. So it's a great option. And like I said, we would be. I'm not committing to anything, but we would be more than happy to enter into any kind of conversation with anything that would help.
But y'all need one at each school, I guess?
Ideally, yes, sir. That would be, because in that instance, obviously, you potentially might not have to have one at the middle school because of proximity to the high school. And also, from the land standpoint, we would struggle to put that there. So, you also can take an existing structure. So say you might take, I'm not saying this is where it would be, let's say like our cafeteria. So it would need to be an internal structure. And you can turn that into an internal storm shelter. So what that, you have to be very careful when you do that though, in the creation and the building of it, because if you're not careful, you turn it into we want to be very mindful of this go on with campus. The issue they got into during the trend, where the Superdome ended up being a refugee camp almost. It'd be very hard to do that in school. Because, we still have school within a certain amount of time after a tragedy, an issue like that, anyway. So, obviously there's a lot of differences between the elementary school and the high school. So, we would take into account the population density of the area and the building size of it. So, it's a great idea. We just happen to be talking about it this afternoon. So,
What's the name of the grant?
It's through NEMA. It's like you have FEMA, obviously NEMA is the Mississippi version of that. But it's federal money.
Okay. Thank you.
The facility that was built to the North Pontotoc School, does that facility serve as a dual purpose storm shelter and falling or something?
It certainly does. And that's, I tell you, I think that's a really good, but I also could see it as maybe even a step further, right? So if the city needs an area, a place to hold an event, you know what I mean? The thing that you are required to do is you're required to make sure that anything in the floor area, right? They determine the square footage of the floor, right? It has to be removable. So volleyball would be a perfect example. You take the standards out, it's open. So I can see lots of things.
So it needs to be a multi-purpose.
Yeah.
It would make sense financially. I mean, you're talking about considerable cost because of the concrete construction to get a use out of it other than just being a shell that you go to in an emergency. In my opinion, it'd be a waste of a poor use of tax dollars for what dual use.
I think it's a great idea. Like I said, we definitely want to help in any way we can.
Thank you.
Give us a grant.
We're working on it.
I also met with, talked with Kurt Fletcher, and we will be attending a meeting Monday.
You going? Okay. All right, what's the next? Item M is Park Plaza tree discussion.
Well, that's fine. It's sort of been an elephant in the room for the last 2 or 3 months. Did have a meeting with the beautification committee, and they know after that meeting that I don't blame them for the trees winding up on Park Plaza Drive. Terrible location, My motion tonight is to remove the trees off Park Plaza Drive and move them somewhere else.
Per our, is it okay if I say something? Per our discussion, in that meeting, it was very well outlined that, and each of you have a packet of information about the benefits of those trees in general, that those trees are not in any way, shape, form, or fashion in non-compliance with the city's ordinance. They are 12 feet off the road, they're 40 feet apart. They're young trees, and if we move them, they will die, according to the expert. I am not an expert, and I'm a poor substitute for Sam Creekmore, I assure you. But, you know, I would ask that you reconsider that at this point in time and give it some more time and let the trees mature and see how things go. And because at this point in time, they can't be removed or salvaged, according to me.
There's 3 that I saw the other day currently that are dead already.
Right.
And I talked to some of the people that planted the tree. And the wire baskets and the burlap sacks, the root balls are still in the ground. So removing them and replanting them would be just as easy as what planting them in the first place from the nursery where they were moved from. I think there was one that's in front of El Agave that does not have the wire basket still around it, but they still have the burlap sack and the wire basket are in the ground. So moving them would be relatively easy. You see what's removing from the nursery when they put them in the ground. But with the heat, yeah, there's a good chance some of them are going to die, but there's already 3 that are dead now. There's 150, so
yeah, there's 150.
you say half of them, they still have 75 trees.
So if we move them at a different time of the year, do they have a better chance of living? And
Yeah, I've always been told January was the time to
January, February.
move in the trees. But I think sounds very certain to do at least half of them without as hot as it is.
I'd have a comment in that, I feel like I would probably agree with Johnny, in that it was 4 or 5 months ago that y'all approved the purchase of the trees. In that particular meeting, it was discussed that those trees would be located along Bankhead. And, you know, I'm all for trees. I think they're great. I think they improve the aesthetics of the town, and they're an asset to the town. But at that point in time that y'all approved the purchase of those trees, it was indicated to y'all in that meeting that they would be planted down Bankhead Street. In that meeting, I voiced a question as to whether or not it had been discussed with the Lake Gas and Water Department as well as NDOT about placement of those trees in those islands. Because at that time, we were going over the sign ordinance, and there were some things in the proposed sign ordinance that would require those islands to not have anything in them if someone wanted to place and put a sign. So it was something that I had to worry about, and I don't own any businesses on that strip, but I question whether or not that was the proper place to put them on Bankhead in those islands, and whether or not they had spoke with NDOT and Lake Gas and Water. Y'all approved the purchase of the trees. I believe it was 15,000 and some change, maybe a little more. I'd have to look back. But once y'all approved those, the following month, when we had the meeting, that's when the elephant in the room appeared, in that none of the aldermen on the board were informed that they were not going to be put in the location that y'all had approved the purchase of them to go in, and that it was no knowledge to any of you that a decision was made to move them. And I was told the reason that the decision was made to move them was because the questions that I did ask about whether or not Lake Gas and Water and NDOT would be happy with locations there. seemed like that maybe wasn't done, and after the meeting it was done, and they voiced some concerns, which caused the movement of the trees. During that meeting, there was a discussion, y'all said that y'all didn't want where they were going to be put there. After that meeting, there was an executive session. After the executive session, I happened to still be in City Hall, and when Alderman Anderson came down from the executive session, you mentioned that y'all had discussed it in that particular executive session, that y'all had agreed as a group that y'all weren't informed that they would be put on Park Plaza, and that since y'all weren't informed, it was y'all's intent to remove them. The following month, I was in City Hall appointing permit for building a building, and there was a meeting going on up here about those trees, and I did not have time to stay or come up here and listen to what was said, but I had texted a suggestion to Alderman Livingston, because I assumed that based off of when the previous month when I was told that y'all made a decision that y'all would move them somewhere, that's what they were discussing up here. And I texted Alderman Livingston a thought I had of moving those trees to the clover leaves in town. We have 4 clover leaves. If you go to Tupelo, several of their clover leaves have pine trees planted around them. It makes them look better. I think a pin oak tree looks a lot better than a pine tree, in my opinion. A lot of other towns do crepe myrtles, things of that nature. So I texted Alderman Livingston that idea, because in coming here, I found out they were meeting. And her response back was that particular board had discussed it, and that the beautification board had made the decision to leave the trees, is what her wording was. The only thing that I see wrong with that is that it seems to me that committee is overstepping their bounds in regards to what their authority is. I believe that a decision that the aldermen make in approving funds of a substantial amount of money to be spent should be the ones to be able to approve the final say as to where they go. And I feel like that y'all were bypassed in that decision. And the last couple of months, it's kind of been danced around and not been addressed. And there's been further meetings and discussions about what to do with them and where to move them. But in my opinion, and it seems to be very obvious that while that board is a great board that is needed, and the trees are an asset to the community and placed in the right place, I do believe this is an example of a board overstepping their bounds, in my opinion, and going against the decision that y'all as the elected board have kind of already made in going in a different direction. So I agree with Johnny in his opinion that it has been the elephant in the room, and in my opinion, since y'all the board that made the vote and use your authority and position to spend the city's money, that y'all should have the say as to where they go, and not that appointed board, since it is a large financial amount of money. I just think that it might set precedents if one board starts making decisions against the main board to go in the direction that they see better fit than what y'all see fit, that it might cause other boards to think that they do the same thing.
Okay, so we recently had an open meeting where the Board of Aldermen and beautification met, and we all kind of made amends with one another that there had been some miscommunication. They had, I'm actually the liaison on beautification and the board, and I actually even took, in that situation, I had not checked my email. I think it had been sent to all, maybe even all of us, about the trees being moved. I was supposed to communicate, whatever. I'll take the whole blame, whatever. But the bottom line is that we did, in fact, beautification committee has their only goal is to make New Albany more beautiful. It really is. And I totally agree with you. I think a lot of committees had too much power when I first got on the board. I totally agree with you. We're working well together right now with all of our committees. Billy Jean, being Community Development Director, has really helped with that communication. We're really making some changes. So we had a great positive meeting where we all talked about how we can improve our communication. If it's something like that they made a decision about, they should text us or call us. That is a big decision that they shouldn't make on their own. We talked about that. So we were aware. They're aware, we're aware, we're improving our communication. I personally, and I'll just be honest, I'm tired of talking about the trees. I just want to leave them and let's move on. We've got so many big issues in this city. I don't want to kill any trees. I personally wanted them on Bankhead. I think everybody did, and it didn't work out. I am going to just trust. Sam is on beautification committee, and he has given, there's this whole, here's a whole research, all kind of stuff on the trees, where they are, what not, how there's still going to be room to expand the road. There'll still be room to put bike paths. There'll still be room to plant, do what we need to do. It's not going to interfere with signage or, anyway, there's some research there if anybody wants to look at that. So I'm actually fine with them where they are and ready to move forward with other things.
I just think that it's a cart before the horse situation, and that a committee came to this board requesting a large amount of money without all their I's dotted and their T's crossed. And once they ran into a roadblock that could have been avoided by more work on the front end, getting the proper approvals and the right information from the people that obviously were going to be affected by their decision. I think once they dropped the ball in doing that and realized that they had an issue, I just feel like it is a situation where a board went rogue and made a decision without informing y'all. And, to me... well,
it's over now. We got to decide what to do with them. That's kind of beating a dead horse here.
Yeah. Well, just as a member of that committee, I can assure you there was no ill intent. There was nobody going rogue. There was no conflict. And the decision was made in good faith and with an expert on board. And the fact that it didn't turn out right is just one of those things that comes up. And now we have to resolve and move forward, like you said. Two wrongs don't make a right, so to speak. And, like you said, we resolved how to communicate better and make that thing. There are no criteria on that committee that I'm a member of that says how those decisions and approvals are to be made, but we've clarified that, like you said, and that going forward. And there is a budget assigned to that committee. It was not a requested amount of money. So, and we did come in under budget. It was a $15,000 that you approved, and there was only $8,000 spent on the trees that he got a vendor. And and with his expert judgment, that was what ended up being done. And as Amy pointed out, the road can be widened, bike paths can be installed. There's no issues with the trees other than y'all didn't know about it. And that was an error.
Well, I agree with Johnny. I think they need to be moved. I think it's a bad location. A pin oak tree is not ideal, in my opinion. If it was a crepe myrtle, being in that close proximity to the road would be up. But a pin oak is 75 to 100 foot tall tree with a 40 to 50 foot limb span.
Well, here again, I can't be the expert tree person in the room, but I can point you to the information that Mr. Creekmore has provided and that we discussed in the meeting. That, and that same pin oak is already in the sportsplex. That same pin oak is on Pennsylvania Avenue. That same pin oak is in a lot of places, and it's one of the top 10 trees used in the United States of America. And, Tupelo has them up and down their main street, and they're a lot closer and to the curb and a lot closer apart, or together, I should say. So, the selection of the tree and its placement, it was not an improper decision.
Second, John.
So we got a motion to move. You got a timeline?
Let's say January, whenever the ideal time to move.
Got a motion and a second. Any other?
So wait.
Well, you can vote or not. I mean, you can vote for it.
But where we moved, does
I don't know.
I don't. I've had nobody tell me that they wanted the trees there, okay? And y'all's presentation that day was awesome, and it was great, and I'm 100% for beautification. My concern here is we spent money on these trees, that I don't want to just throw the money away if we can save the trees. What Will's saying about what's still on the base of the tree, I don't understand it enough to know, But my thing is if we move them, I mean, you're proposing that we move every single one of them whenever it's proper time to move the trees. What are we gonna do with the trees?
Well, I think that's the next question, and Kevin Dale might have a conversation about it. We've got some areas in our parks, I know up at the community center park, there's no trees up there, we can move some of them there. I mean, with 150, it's gonna be hard to find a place for all of them.
Well, I mean, you can have a bunch of them at the school.
Put a lot of them in sports things, maybe some on the other side of the tennis and soccer, out in that area. I don't know, Keith. I mean, I'm not opposed to the trees. I'm really not. I'm just opposed to where they are. And as Terry said, and I wasn't even gonna mention it, but I went to Zaxby's yesterday or the day before, and I was trying to pull out the highway, and it distorts your vision. I mean, because that curve is right there at Zaxby's and Lowe's, and traffic's coming pretty fast down through there. I think it's just gonna be worse as they get bigger.
What about the option of leaving some of them?
If that's an option.
I have had people text me and say they think they're too close to, I mean, everybody's got an opinion, but too close together, could we move some and leave some? I don't know if that's not.
Every other one would be a compromise. Keep half of them and move half of them.
That was my suggestion. We'll not do all of this, do some of them. Like I talked to John, we said we could use some around the community, for sure.
Is there for sure 40 feet in between them? Because it seems to be closer than that. If they have a diameter, a canopy diameter of 40 feet, you know, I would think for the canopies not to touch, there need to be at least 80 feet in between them. And I'm fairly certain there's not 40 in between them.
Jerry, did you measure? Did you measure some one time?
I did, and my recollection is that what I measured was the distance from the pavement to the trees.
Oh, okay.
And my recollection of those measurements, it was 9 to 12 feet.
But I mean between them, did you?
I did not measure that, no. The only thing, I went over there one day and took what I believe is pretty accurate compass. And that roadway from Highway 30 down to Bratton Road has several major bends in it. And it's about 70 degrees on the compass. And if you come, the one place that I thought was a blind spot was as you come out of El Agave, if people are coming generally southeast, southeast from Walmart toward Bratton, there is a place there, if the car's going 60, 70 miles an hour, which many of them do, that you simply cannot see that car until it's right on top of it. I will also say that there's already a shrub there that I guess belongs to the other, I don't know, that blocks your view. And it's, I don't know if the board has any authority to do anything about that or not. But there's, in my mind, there's no question that some of them will be and already are a hazard to eyesight. I don't think they all are. But my thought would be that perhaps the board take it better. I hate, to not have those trees. Where there's a straight street, that's not a hazard. But, my opinion on this is very ambiguous.
I do think didn't Sam look at South Central, he looked at some other locations, right, for straight.
Carter.
Carter, that's it.
I think there were two.
The power line.
Now, how long is it gonna take for a pin oak road to be 75 feet tall? 100 years?
I think it's been a long while, yeah.
Yeah. But these right here, 20 years old, or 25, at the mall Tupelo, and they're not.
Well, the pin oaks that are on the boulevard at the Sportsplex are roughly 27 years old, and they're 50 foot tall.
No, they're older than that. They were there before that, when that thing was built. They're 100 years old, I'd say. Because they just didn't take them down.
The other thing that's concerning about this to me is we got them there, and so we're already talking about, I'm sort of headed in my mind about 3-lane and Park Plaza. So when you level Park Plaza out, because they're they're planted on a slope. When you level it out, then you're gonna be pushing dirt up against those trees, which I think it's gonna kill a lot of the ones that we leave. And I'm not opposed to leaving some, you know, but I just think if we free land it, it's gonna be a problem.
The Bankhead location real quick. We were asked about, you know, our opinion on placing the trees along Bankhead Street from the red light at 30 back to the bridge. And really from the bridge up, you know, past Reed's, there's not a lot there. Once you get past that, there, just the overhead lines everywhere, it's so close to the street. And I think it's gonna be hard to accomplish, you know, the look they were wanting to get and stay out of all the power lines. Something that I had suggested, it's just something that we can't do real fast, but was, you know, that area is, this, another computer there can look this, it's not very pretty in that part, you know, because all the stuff overhead, and aesthetically, it could have some improvement. What I've asked our engineering group to do is look at what we could do to put some underground in that area to get some better looking street lights in that part. And once we got out there, I guess they've been there, except we paid you all, I don't know, they're really old. But we could do some things to clean that up electrically and get some of those lines out of the way, get them underground. You still gonna have some telephone lines and cable lines, which that won't really, you know, mess up. The trees won't impact them. It's just kind of, you know, they'll still be up there, but you can work with the trees. Again, if this is something y'all want us to do between now and January, if we can get a plan together on what
you're talking about, Bankhead Street?
Yes, on Bankhead. If we can get a plan together on what we can do to clean Bankhead Street up. And there may be areas on Bankhead Street where, again, if y'all do decide to move the trees, it could go back to that original spot, and it could be fine. It's just we kind of rushed. You know, it's kind of like somebody had a bank, it's nothing. It's no big deal. We got to do something with them, but we just couldn't figure it out in a couple of weeks. And again, probably by the end of the year, we can figure out, and because it's going to cost money to, you know, to improve that part of the streets, so some underground lines in, new street lights. So we need to get a plan together and get y'all to see, you know, if that's the money you would spend.
Well, let me ask you this, I mean, with MDOT, I mean, since it is a state road, I mean, they would have to approve as well.
I think so. If you got a part of off the road, I'm not sure how close it could be, but you could probably get, you know, you may be able to get off the MDOT right away. From an electric system standpoint, I think we could do some things that probably need to be done out here anyway. It would just take a little bit of time, but if we got a plan laid out, and when you want to go to the square, and again, that's the preferred area, so that may be an option. In addition to what we're talking about.
Johnny, along Bankhead, I think MDOT just plain driveway from edge of tape to edge of tape.
Yeah, they don't want the rest of it. They certainly won't move it, will they?
There's actually no right way for Bankhead Street, so they claim.
Okay. Are we gonna compromise, or we gonna vote to completely move all the trees, or what?
Mr. Mayor, I suggest that perhaps you consider doing something the Union County Board does very regularly, is you know, basically you table it, move it forward, and hold it, and, you know, defer the decision. You've got 120 days between now and what I'm told will be the optimal time to move those trees. I firmly believe that quite a number of them need to be moved, because I think they are a hazard. But I don't think all of them do. So since you've got that long to move them, as Mr. Maddox suggests, maybe take a pretty good look at it and see which ones of those will obstruct traffic, which ones of those will prevent widening of the street. And you don't have to make that decision tonight, but I firmly believe some of them have to be moved at some point.
I just don't want it, I don't want it to go 5 years.
No.
That's not, still talking about trees.
No.
You know, I'm just ready to put it bed one way or the other. Not necessarily tonight, but maybe by Christmas anyway.
Yeah, first of the year.
And we complete the budget, we can talk about it in October.
So table it?
I'll be seeing my.
Okay.
All right. is close a portion of King Street, and that's for the Welcome Center, for the, down by the library. Part of it's gonna be out on King Street on the library side. And, so we've got to close a portion of it. What we gotta do, Ray, is set a public hearing.
Yeah, we do. Would you at least explain though what part of it's talking about?
Okay, it will stay open to the first entrance, am I right, Ray, of the library?
To the southernmost entrance on the north side of the library.
Yeah. So library parking lot will have entrances, and the rest of them will be to the other side of the trail.
We have to set it for public hearing, and we have to give a notice to the property owners, which is always there's three. There's the county, there's the rails trail, and there's council.
Let me ask a couple questions about this. I know we did say that we'd go back and we would ask if we could get the grant changed where rather than building the road into the pavilion, we maybe could use it for this, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And so we did vote to do that, and then we voted to commit X amount of dollars, I think, 20% of 80/20 match. But do we have any idea of how much building the Welcome Center is going to cost? And I just don't want to get stuck with $500,000 building that we're left paying for. I mean, I don't even know if we even know what the building might even cost.
Well, we do for this first phase. I didn't bring that budget with me, but it seemed like it was $120,000, something like that.
Remember we talked about it in phases, and this first phase was
And then we made an application for the second phase that didn't get funded.
because we're only talking about phase one right now.
That's gonna be 4 restrooms and a little small office and a
Covered porch, patio area.
And it's what's the total? 120.
I think Johnny's got the budget.
But that's, okay. We talk about so many things, I get confused.
So we passed a resolution to pay 20% on our part, 8% on
All the grant would pay for is the restrooms and an office.
They'll pay
We can't use their money for the second phase, which is a meeting room. All their money could be used for was bathrooms, because we can tie them to the trail system.
Ms. Frankie, all we have approved is for a change of scope. We've not approved anything else, is that correct?
Agreement signed by the team, but like y'all ever saw it.
Y'all passed a resolution, though, pay 80%. I mean, 20%. That looks like it'd be it.
So what we'd be committed to is 20% of what, 125,000?
Which was that?
Is that 20, we've already done 3 group.
For phase one.
Yeah.
On closing the King Street, I'm sorry, y'all, I can't quite, are we talking about like coming from Maine, that part of King? The other side? So you can't get to it from King? So
So
it-
bicycles that they'll get to, we'll put bollards in the old road where bicycles can get through, but that's no vehicular traffic.
Okay.
Of course, this is coming down to public hearing.
Right.
Not something you have to decide today.
Okay.
But I do want y'all to understand eventually that if you close it, it's closed. We don't even own it anymore. A lot of things, the city of the street that we now own, we go to county county and the budding owners, so the county are in the owners, almost half of it, real wood on half of it. School almost tiny strip. But it would not be our land anymore at that point.
So we would just own one part of King Street?
We don't park it up.
Yeah, the part that comes off of camp.
There's another factor also, close the street between Denver and Darcy, it's out there. And you have to say, just compensation. Our studio is right across the street. Our cameras on this thing. So, before I would recommend doing this, I would want those three owners to all lay back and anticipate they would. County and County Trail Smart told me they would. I think the schools told them that. So I don't expect that to take. I get that right.
Does it have any impact that works on offices on the other side of the trail from the library?
There's a county school board there.
How about on the other side? Was it law?
For David's office.
They would have access coming up that road, but they still have access coming down.
And then there's one residence in Dad's office.
So I just wondered if would that be any type of an issue for us? Or something we would approach?
They're not public landowners, so it would be a tenuous claim if they made one. I can't tell you that they wouldn't try.
So your recommendation is not just to make sure we've got our I's dotted and T's crossed before we close?
Right now, it's just a set for hearing.
I think that really does most of the public hearing.
Brett, you don't remember how much phase 2 is?
I don't even know if
Did we
they
even-
settled on how big the next phase is
We
going to
don't
be.
even have that yet, okay.
Now, I got a motion by John to set up public hearing for
Yes,
first
second,
Tuesday in, let's say, September.
second.
Second, any other questions, discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? That motion carried. All right, item O was upgrade community center.
Thank you, Eric. You have more information about that?
Oh, that was, ADA compliance stuff.
Yeah. I got this, kind of a rough estimate last year about the ADA upgrade to the community center. And it was, to do the grounds, replacing doors on the bathroom, redo the bathrooms, install emergency lighting in the building, new flooring in the bathroom, and, a wheelchair ramp that's not correct now there anyway, was about $14,000. That's just a rough estimate on that. I can get some better numbers if we think we might need.
Terry, did you say it's been being used a lot lately?
Pretty much every weekend somebody rented it out, so we get a lot of use out of it.
People are taking care of it?
So far, there.
What?
Ain't done right through the window, baby.
Right.
That's what I was looking at. So 14,000, or is the estimate?
Well, a year ago.
Oh, that was a year ago.
That's just
Oh,
a
sorry.
rough estimate.
Rough, that's.
Oh, 100% more than
So don't we need to get 2 estimates now?
Yeah, we'll do that if y'all.
Yeah,
If we want
gotta
to.
get two quotes.
I think we're gonna keep using them, we don't have a choice.
I don't,
Let's get the quotes.
I got a motion from Kevin Dale, I have to say.
I was gonna say.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, now this item P is memorandum of agreement between New Albany, Union County, and Union Trail for the work center. And basically, New Albany's agreeing to maintenance and keep it clean. Union County's agreeing to let it be on their land, and the trails are agreeing to What? Wait.
finance, there's a funded now.
Yeah, that's funded now. So, but we gotta have a memorandum of agreement between all three, right?
And we agreed to, we agreed to build it, maintain it, insure it, and also to allow rail trails to have access to it.
Yeah, that's what it was, access. Plus,
Is that just for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, it is a 20-year lease with an option for another 20, so basically 40 at $1 a year. And there is a right of purchase at the end of it. It could be extended, but that was Chandler, someone who looked into how they would have to work, what they could do, what they couldn't, that's what we came up with.
So what would we be purchasing, just the property?
We're not purchasing property, we'll be leasing the property.
I'm talking about at the end of 40 years.
If we, yeah.
Yeah, the property, because we've already got the building paid for, right? Or no? I mean, we don't have to pay for it twice.
That's a good question. I can't really give you a clear answer on how that works. I would anticipate that the county would not really want the full value of it, but then that's the question of follow the law, do what the law will allow.
So it's for us to maintain it?
We have to maintain it.
Who owns it? Rails Trails?
No, Rail Trails has access.
County owns the land.
The county would actually own it.
It'd be our building on leased property and the actual land.
Still county property.
County property, yeah.
Into the lease improvements revert to the landowner then?
I would think that it's on their property, it'd be their building. The city's just agreeing to maintain it and
Why don't they give us land so we don't build?
There was
I don't think they can, any more than we can give them land.
See, they had to apply for the grant on our behalf because they own the property.
no, Jim and O got the grant.
But the county had to approve or sign for it, didn't they? Wasn't that?
The money's funneled through the city. GM and O applied on the city's behalf. Y'all was supposed to do a MOU with GM and O board for that. I don't know if you ever did, but
I think this is the one you're talking about, I can't remember if there was another.
when we changed the scope,
Yeah, that was
Yeah, I don't think the county was able to apply for them. Keep in mind, this thing literally dropped to my lap Thursday. It's withdrawn the MOU Thursday afternoon.
yeah, but the other part,
So it's kind of short fused.
when's it gonna be approved?
Technically, they said we could approve it next month. They'd like to approve it for them.
so we got to meet again anyway.
I'm just wondering if you might give us an answer on a
Yeah.
couple of questions.
Yeah, if you let me know specifically what your questions are, I'll try to get answers for them. And I know you want to know about what happens with the value of the building if you have to purchase.
I think you could actually own the building and lease the whole property. You had it in the contract.
Can you give us a little more information in this? I mean, my question would be, don't want to be here 40 years.
Well, why would he come up?
Somebody's might have to deal with that.
Why would he come up with a 20-year? I mean, Randy Keller said if you get 1,000 years, it'd be this way.
well, when we first went into it, on our phone call the other day, they were wanting to do a 99-year lease. I don't know whether.
Don't want to kind of change the 20.
I didn't hear that till yesterday, we met yesterday, or Monday, yesterday.
This thing is really headed by Three Rivers, not by Colorado, who reached the portions of it, at least
Maybe we can check Randy and see if we can't get a longer lease.
from the county side. But he was checking into what they could do. That's the way he drafted it.
And Randy thought we could get a long lease, get 99 years.
He said longer than that.
Yeah, long about that.
For the market, when you on a lease, you don't own the lease, you don't own any improvements or anything, you're on a lease and that's it.
All right, let's move, we're in, Item P, the MOU, no, we done that. All right, Item Q is approved change order number 5 for S&A project. SB Construction, SB Construction, SB 5 for S&A Industry is $120,652.
Sorry, I was still looking at the other question. Which one are you looking at?
I'm on R.
That's not me. That's payment request that's on that project. It's all grant funds.
I got a motion, Johnny, have a second. Second by Amy, any other question or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, item S is approved request for cash authorization, number 6, for the S&A project. Motion by Will, have a second. Second by Kevin Dale, any other question or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Yes, but I need to leave on T. This is the,
Get the key. Still with them? Yeah. Protect yourself.
So let's go to Q first. Approve change order number 5. I thought I did that. No. Motion by Amy, have a second. Second by Will, any other question or discussion? All in favor? All right, you want to step out before he works with VIP. Okay, item T is to approve final order tax exemption from ad valorem taxes for VIP Seminole. Motion by Kevin, Will, second by Kevin Dale. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, Johnny, you come back in.
That's usually, I don't know, Joe, y'all, I guess you did it last year. All these things, we approved the initial one way back in like June or so probably. And then they go to the MCOR and then they come back and the MDOR is either accepted them as is or they may sometimes say, we accept 90% of it, but not this. But then there's a final order that we have to approve. So at this point, we're overstepping the previous approval.
Okay. Can we do them in one big chunk where to do line by line?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah.
So that'll be item U through Z, right? Is approval of final order for a 10-year exemption for Cooper Electrical, Sugar Reeves, Metal Impact, Diversity Bootech, Emerald, and Albany Industries. I need a motion for those. All right, I got a motion by Amy. Any other, get a second. Second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Now, item AA.
I'm gonna tell you one thing real quick since it's just popped up, that the 10% tax levy, the statutes and also the municipal handbook says it applies to total receipts, so I'm not sure what total receipts are. It doesn't include debt servicing, so that's not part of what you calculate the statute side, but Frankie and I will have to call somebody and see what kind of law is considered total receipts.
Is that it? All right, item AA is consider executive session. Motion by Kevin Dale, I have a second. Second by Will. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? All right, any opposed? Okay.